It's Morning Talk on News Talk 1250 KBRF, brought to you by Pioneer Care and Fergus Falls Monument Company. Now, here's Mary Dolan and Dave Bishop.
Good Wednesday morning. It is 9:10. Hoping everybody's having a great start to your day. How's it going, Mary?
Going good. Beautiful start to this day. And oh my gosh, all of yesterday and last night were just the most pleasant temperatures and just really nice weather. If you don't like humid, I don't like humid.
No.
It's going to get humid the next couple of days, which of course it has the potential for firing up some storms on Friday. So hopefully that doesn't come our way. That would be nice if we could just hold those off. We get a lot of that weekend, or we've had a lot of that weekend stuff.
Yep.
So let's cross our fingers against any weekend storms, especially on Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My long tragic nightmare of not having the dock in is finally over.
It's in?
Yeah, Isaac and I put it in yesterday.
Oh, good for you. Well, you picked a great day to do it.
Oh, gorgeous out there.
Yeah, it was absolutely beautiful. And just sitting on the patio last night, I just thought, pinch myself. I'm so lucky to be here. It was so beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
One of those nights where you don't even want to go in, you know. Except, boy, bed sounds really good some nights, too. So do I sit on the patio and enjoy the lake, or do I head for bed? Anyway, yeah, first world problem, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, boy, that's for sure. Well, here we are on a Wednesday already, middle of the week, and you've got today and tomorrow to get through, and most of us will have Friday off, and you're probably going to get a nice long weekend out of it. And Friday looks like we could have a little bit of bumpy weather. We're going to watch that for you, probably be late in the day. But Saturday, Sunday looking hot. Saturday for sure.
Yeah.
Sunday looks like really the nicest day of the weekend. Going to be a little more moderate in temp. And looks like a pretty nice day with no precip or anyway. So I think all in all, it's going to make for a pretty nice holiday weekend.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Always love the 4th of July.
Yes, it is always a lot of fun. And I hope people can raise the flag and be proud to be an American.
Yeah.
Agree or disagree with all the junk that's going on. We're still Americans, and we still are red, white, and blue to the core, I hope. So, just because you don't agree with what's going on, and none of us do, it doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on. If you're like me, I'm just like disenchanted with the whole thing. It just is so ridiculous. And, that there's just so many egos that get in the way. And the vote depends on the threat of somebody else. If you don't vote this way, I'm going to do X. I'm like, really? Is that how we do it? How about they vote for their constituents in their state?
Yep. What do you want?
Yeah. How about that? Isn't that how they get elected, by those people who want them to hear what they want in their particular state?
Yeah.
But it's all this. Well, if you do this, I'm gonna go to the primaries, and I'm gonna dump a whole bunch of money, and somebody is gonna win your seat, and it's just all this ugliness in the background.
Yeah.
And all for what? I don't know. Well, anyway, one of the things that is in this big, beautiful bill, which now, of course, has been changed multiple times, and Lisa Murkowski from Alaska did end up voting for it, and she's taken a lot of heat from Rand Paul, of all people, saying that, she got some changes made for her state, and that's why she said yes. So she sold out America for Alaska, is basically what he's saying. Well, to that I say, you know what?
She got some for her constituents.
She stood up for the people of Alaska, and I think that's what she was elected to do. And she also supported the Republican Party and, the hopes of the president and, moving forward for this country in the best way possible. And so anyway, it's just another one of those nasty games. But one of the things that is in the big beautiful bill is more people on the border, better border security. And I don't know, isn't that what we all want? We've seen a dramatic change since last November on the number of people that come across the border. And here is a story to support that. Nogales, Mexico, is right across the border from like Phoenix area, southern Arizona. So, you drive south from Phoenix, and pretty soon you're going to cross the border. You're going to go into Nogales. Well, here's what they're saying. Amid busy streets scattered with pedestrians, stray dogs, and the Mexican National Guard lies Nogales, Mexico, where local business owners deliberate on how the second Trump administration has affected crime, border security, and more. And they say this: drug trafficking has been controlled. There's barely any of that now. It's not like it used to be. This is a Mexican native who owns a photography business right outside the walkable entry point into Mexico. And there's another entrepreneur that told Fox News Digital, we've gone through very tough times because although right now, this past year, these last 2 years, there's been some calm in terms of insecurity. And in earlier times, we had a lot of problems, but we see those changing. I don't know if it's the same or worse. In truth, this is what another guy is saying. I don't know, but there is a lot going on out there. And here in my neighborhood, in my surroundings, yes, I live peacefully, thank God. So I think they're seeing some changes and positive changes because of what is going on at the border. And we're seeing hardly anybody crossing the border anymore these days. So, and that is one thing that will be in this bill, should it get passed in the House, hopefully by Friday is the deadline, supposedly. Now, because of weather on the East Coast, a bunch of the legislators are on their home or wherever they went, and they're having trouble getting back to D.C. because of weather. So now they say that could impact, because everybody wants to get back, everybody wants to vote. They need every single vote on both sides. In fact, yesterday it came down to Vice President J.D. Vance.
He had the deciding vote.
He had to decide the vote. So anyway, I don't know how is it going to go in the House. It took hours and hours and hours, overnighters in the Senate, and then the vice president has to be the deciding vote. So it's going to be, I heard a clip from President Trump, and he sounded positive. And of course, I suppose he has to. But boy, there's been a lot of arm twisting done, I'm sure, overnight, and probably in the next day or two. I don't know. What's going to happen?
Well, it's the old phrase from Otto von Bismarck. He said the two things the public never wants to see is how sausage is made and how bills are passed.
True on both counts. But I think how bills are passed, it's getting ugly, it's getting mean, It's getting, you do this and I'll do this, and if you do this to me, it's
I'm gonna
nothing.
tell your dad on you.
It's nothing but threats. It's just awful. It used to be, well, if you do this, I may not help you pass the bill in another committee or something. But none of this. If you do this, I'm going to get somebody else elected. I'm going to use all my money to sink you. And it's just awful.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm kind of looking forward to the holiday. I'm going to fly the flag, and that's what I'm going to do for the weekend. I'm going to be super glad that I live where I live and that I'm a proud American. And I'm going to turn off the news. I'm just going to stay away from it. Brian Kohlberger has agreed to plead guilty today to 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of burglary in connection with the killings of 4 University of Idaho students. The plea comes just before Kohlberger's trial was set to begin. They thought this was going to be the biggest trial of the century here. And anyway, sentencing scheduled for 4 consecutive life sentences on the murder charges and 10 years on the burglary charge. So, the 10 years, I mean, I don't know why they bother with that charge because
because a lot of things can, especially with a life in prison sentence, a lot of things can happen. You got to make sure you have a little
suppose.
extra on that burglary.
Yeah, I suppose. So it looks like he's going to plead guilty today. So I don't know. In my head, that means he's a guilty man.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't just throw your hands
They
up and
had
give
a
up.
lot of evidence on it.
They sure did. All right. 2025 tornado season in the United States has been exceptionally active. We have seen that
Yes.
even right around here. Don't have to go as far as Tornado Alley. I feel like this has been,
Yep.
I-94 corridor has been Tornado Alley of late. Anyway, 1,296 preliminary filtered tornado reports as of June 29th. That's a lot. This number is 338 more than the historical average of 958, making 2025 so far the most active tornado season in over a decade.
You know why that is, don't you, Mary?
Oh, I'm sure it's climate change. It's either that or Donald Trump. I don't know. Those are the two things that we can blame everything on. So one of those two things has to be to blame. Let's see. Texas leads the states with 145 tornado reports, followed by Illinois with 130, Missouri with 117, and Mississippi with 101. I thought Oklahoma would be in the running.
Yeah.
Tulsa gets hit every time somebody says tornado. Tulsa gets it.
Yeah, there's a thing on Facebook going around saying that the reason we're having so many tornadoes is roundabouts. We didn't have tornadoes before roundabouts.
That's kind
Causing
of funny.
extra spin in the atmosphere.
Just think how many roundabouts we have added, though.
Yeah.
They're kind of popping up everywhere.
Pelican's got a couple. We're getting a new one in Fergus.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. Over by the Y.
Over the Y.
You know, I never have really reason to go out there, but I did one day about a week or so ago, and I had forgotten that was all torn up. Anyway, I think that's going to be nice because you know what? When I'm going to the Y every day during the winter, it's hard to pull out of there sometime.
Yeah.
Because it's so busy, and I think this is just going to keep traffic moving a little bit better. And I don't know. I when we first started putting in roundabouts, I'm like, ugh. I love the roundabouts. You don't stop. You just keep on going. Mm-hmm. I love it. That is, if people know how to drive to use them ahead of you. Okay, there's a big deal going on with Costco and Lululemon. Now, if you don't know who Lululemon is, they make a lot of yoga and workout gear. They make really everything, and it's super high-end. I don't know that it's so high-end, but it's very expensive. I've got a handful of Lululemon pieces in my closet, and I will say that the pieces that I did spend a good amount of money on, I love, and they have lasted and lasted and lasted forever. It's great quality stuff. But you might buy a pair of leggings, and they're going to set you back about $128. Yeah, that's a lot. I won't do that. But, you know, like for a sweatshirt or a jacket, something that you wear over and over and over and over again, you can maybe see your way around some of that. Well, anyway, today is the day of the dupes, is what they're calling it. You can actually go online and say, show me where I can buy Lululemon dupes. Show me where I can buy Birkenstock dupes.
Okay, what's a dupe?
A duplicate of a very expensive high-end brand, and you're going to buy it for cheap. Well, that's what Costco has done to Lululemon. There's a couple of sweatshirts. I actually have the Lululemon one, and it's called the Scuba. So if you have that, anyway, I think it's like $118 or something like that from Lululemon. Costco has it, and I think it's something like $21.
Nice.
And it looks exactly the same. It looks exactly the same. And if you were to, I saw a comparison this morning, and they held them up and looked at the stitching and everything, and it's a pretty high quality product from Costco for $21. And so now Lululemon is taking legal action against Costco, accusing the retailer of selling items that closely resemble its clothing line. Of course, they name theirs something different, and it has the Kirkland brand on it. The lawsuit alleges that some customers may mistake these knockoff products for authentic Lululemon items. Well, if it doesn't have that super long white tag that says Lululemon, it's not Lululemon.
Yeah.
But anyway, Lululemon highlighted specific Costco products, including hoodies, jackets, and pants, that it believes violate trademark laws.
Well, basically, it's a huge advertisement for Costco. Hey,
it sure
come
is.
on down.
So, ladies, if you've been wanting that scuba pullover quarter zip hoodie, I say run to Costco and get it now, because I think it's not going to be available for very
Lululemon's
long.
not going to win that lawsuit.
You don't think?
No.
Probably not.
It's a hoodie. You can't trademark a hoodie.
I will tell you, it is identical.
It's
But
a
you
hoodie.
can't. I agree with you. But I just say run out and get the $21 version, because it's a great sweatshirt. I've worn mine to death. So I might have to run out and get a Costco one for myself. All right, coming up on 9:30, break for the markets. We're back with more on Morning Talk.
Back with more Morning Talk with Mary Dolan and Dave Bishop. Brought to you by Pioneer Care and Fergus Falls Monument Company. After the markets on News Talk 1250 KBRF. Depend on it.
Today on Hot Talk with the Ox, right away hear the latest on the big, beautiful bill. Then how did the grand opening of Alligator Alcatraz go in Florida Tuesday? Can't wait to talk about that. At 4:06, hear what beer Ray has picked out. Then hear fellow Ox listeners' Why Nots on Why Not Wednesday with the Boulder Tap House. Tune in to Hot Talk with the Ox today from 2 to 5 on News Talk 1250 KBRF.
What's the ox say?
There's lots of gear to help you fish, but make sure you pack your guides in your tackle box. Listen to Todd and Phil from PT's Guide Service during Gone Fishing, presented by Frontier Marine and Power Sports. Gone Fishing helps you land more fish by letting you know the techniques that are working on area lakes. Listen in as PT's Guide Service shares a boatload of experience. Gone Fishing can be heard right here every Friday afternoon at 5:25, presented by Frontier Marine and Power Sports. Listen in this Friday and let people know you've gone fishing.
Previously on the Under the Hood Show. When I was a kid, I had a chance to get a chemistry set.
I got
Only
the
I'd have
chemistry
known.
set, and I started experimenting with the baking soda and the vinegar thing, and how cool that was. And, of course, I had to overdo it like I do everything. And I got it on a little bigger level, and I got in a lot of trouble, and we had to buy new carpet for the living room. It was not good.
You should listen to the Nordstrom's Under the Hood Show with the Motor Medics right here, KBRF, 1250 a.m., every Saturday at 10 a.m.
Keeping you company out on the lakes. The Minnesota Twins and News Talk 1250 AM KBRF.
Hey, it's Chris Atterbury. Join me alongside Glenn Perkins from Miami. Twins try to get the offense going after being blanked in consecutive games. Simeon Woods Richardson will pitch for the Twins opposite Jansen Junk, a right-hander who is 2-0 with a 3.73 for the Marlins. 5 o'clock our lineup card, 5:40 first pitch. We'll talk to you then on your home for Twins baseball.
News Talk 1250 AM KBRF. Depend on it.
Community is important, and you'll find it at Pioneer Point. Spacious apartments, thoughtfully designed for older adults, provide the best in senior living. Heated parking and elevator access makes life easy. Your neighbors at Pioneer Point hold a welcoming, family-like approach to living. Choosing from an array of special features and options, you'll find many ways to define your lifestyle at Pioneer Point. Call or schedule your tour online today at pioneercare.org.
If shore lunches and backstraps are a main part of your diet, then we've got a radio show for you. Sporting Journal Radio. It's the Midwest's radio home for the outdoors. I'm Brett Amundson, and I'll get you caught up on the latest hunting, fishing, and outdoor information each week with tips from guides, biologists, and wild game cooks. Tune in to Sporting Journal Radio.
Catch Sporting Journal Radio Saturday mornings at 8:06 on News Talk 1250 KBRF. Listen anytime, any place with the new Fergus Now app on your phone.
Don't wait until your garage door sounds like this. Easy Open Garage Doors here to help. Whether you're are in need of repair or a new opener, or maybe it's just time to replace the whole door. Make it easy and give Easy Open Garage Door a call, 770-DOOR.
Find out why the markets are moving. Get in-depth ag information with the Red River Farm Network on News Talk 1250 KBRF. Depend on it.
Good morning, I'm Jamie Dickerman with the market updates on the Red River Farm Network. Grain markets trading higher today, led by the soybeans. Corn Belt Marketing Sam Hudson says we're seeing some short-term covering and some speculative buying in the soybean market.
We got through these reports here this week, and, they didn't rebalance things very much. But what that still means is we can still theorize moving forward what may or may not happen. With the passing of this bill, you keep 45Z alive, so we're seeing some strength in soy oil. And when you think about where these acreage numbers landed as well, we're still riding a pretty thin line on stocks to usage on soybeans if you don't change anything on the demand side. Not a lot of wiggle room, for yield. And when you look at where we gained some of those acres, it's in a lot of those wet areas. So, the trade is having a little more difficulty assuming, just a perfect, big crop in soybeans as opposed to corn with the crop condition ratings. And so they've got a little bit more potential here in the short term and ahead of a 3-day weekend. Not uncommon to see a little bit of a move like this as well. We'll just see if it can hold.
On the livestock side, markets lower across the board.
Seeing some additional selling pressure there in the live cattle and feeder cattle, and I think most of this asset, obviously is stemming from, the announcement of Mexican cattle reemerging into the U.S. and kind of a staged reentry. I think that's going to kind of, keep a little bit of a weight on things, but keep in mind we're still trading some hefty discounts in some of these cash markets, and so I still think the front end's going to stay somewhat supported. I think the back end has a little more to lose and erode over time, but we still have to kind of see how we get through the holiday time frame and demand, and with the economy still looking, fairly good with the passing of this bill. If we can, pass a few more trade deals, that's still going to look pretty strong into midsummer.
Corn Belt Marketing's Sam Hudson. Dow Jones Industrial Average down 64 points now, 44,430. Reporting agriculture's business, this is the Red River Farm Network.
Endura fungicide from BASF, the premier fungicide for white mold. Timing is critical for application.
For soybeans, we prefer that the plants are between R1 and R2, or maybe 3 or 4 days before row closure. That's the optimum timing. And for dry beans, apply it right as the beginning flowers start dropping off of the plant. It's pretty critical that we get the Endura on it at that time.
For more details about white mold and Endura fungicide, see your ag retailer or BASF rep.
Boost your crop's health with Domark 230ME and Badge SC fungicide exclusively from Gowan, USA. Domark's systemic action teams up with Badge's outstanding mixing properties for unbeaten disease control on sugar beets and dried edible beans. Experience the power of 2 different modes of action with Domark and Badge. Don't wait. Contact your local ag retailer and ask about Domark 230ME and Badge SC. Always read and follow label directions from Gowan, USA.
The Red River Farm Network delivers market information, but it's more than just the numbers. We talk with traders, market analysts, weather forecasters, the people in the know. From Rugby to Benson and Roseau to Aberdeen, the Red River Farm Network covers agriculture. Go online to rrfn.com to find your local Red River Farm Network radio station. Podcasts are also available online at rrfn.com, iTunes, Google Play, and Spotify. When it's important to your bottom line, you'll get the entire story on the Red River Farm Network.
Listen to the dry bean scene every Friday here on the Red River Farm Network, brought to you by the North Harvest Bean Growers Association, Johnstown Bean Company, Gowan Company, SRS Commodities, and Heads Up Plant Protectants. We'll track this year's crop potential across the country and get industry perspectives on possible market impacts. It's the dry bean scene every Friday, 12:35, right here on the Red River Farm Network.
Minneapolis wheat September, we are up 8.5 now, 637. December's up 8.5, 655 and a quarter. September Chicago is up 5.5, 554.5, and September Kansas City up 6 1/4 and out 537.5. September corn we're up 3 cents, 409, and December's up 2 at 424. September soybeans up 9 cents, 1027.5. November's up 8 1/4, 1035.5. August live cattle down $1.55, 209.17. August feeders down $1.85, 304.17. And July lean hogs now down 35 cents, 108.65. This is the Red River Farm Network.
Are you or any of your loved ones impacted by hearing loss? Do you have ideas on how the state can improve access to language, education, healthcare, employment, and more? We want your ideas. Visit mn.gov/deaf-commission to take the survey. Paid for by the Minnesota Commission of the Deaf, Deafblind, and Hard of Hearing. Aired by the Minnesota Broadcasters Association and this station.
Otter Tail Coaches is hiring school bus and motor coach drivers. $2,000 sign-on bonus and $21.85 an hour. Full and part-time available. Call Otter Tail Coaches of Fergus Falls to start your career as a professional driver.
There's lots of gear to help you fish, but make sure you pack your guides in your tackle box. Listen to Todd and Phil from PT's Guide Service during Gone Fishing, presented by Frontier Marine and Power Sports. Gone Fishing helps you land more fish by letting you know the techniques that are working on area lakes. Listen in as PT's Guide Service shares a boatload of experience. Gone Fishing can be heard right here every Friday afternoon at 5:25, presented by Frontier Marine and Power Sports. Listen in this Friday and let people know you've gone fishing.
Doth thou wisheth to save money? At FergusFallsDeals.com, we've got a whole lot of new savings, including certificates for home and garden. So much more and great savings at low prices, like Atlas Outdoor Services, Flour Mill, and beyond the mitered corners. Log on to set up an account now. It's that easy. Check it out and start saving money today at FergusFallsDeals.com.
Struggling with employee illness or injury? Minnesota Retain can help reduce turnover and boost productivity with return to work services. Learn more at mnretain.com. The contents of this ad were developed under Grant H421F240147 from the U.S. Department of Education. The department does not mandate or prescribe practices, models, or any other activities described or discussed in this ad. Paid for by Minnesota Retain. Aired by the Minnesota Broadcasters Association and this station.
There's lots of gear to help you fish, but make sure you pack your guides in your tackle box. Listen to Todd and Phil from PT's Guide Service during Gone Fishing, presented by Frontier Marine and Power Sports. Gone Fishing helps you land more fish by letting you know the techniques that are working on area lakes. Listen in as PT's Guide Service shares a boatload of experience. Gone Fishing can be heard right here every Friday afternoon at 5:25, presented by Frontier Marine and Power Sports. Listen in this Friday and let people know you've gone fishing.
Newstalk 1250 KBRF. Listen anytime, any place with the Fergus Now app on your phone. Currently sitting in at 76. Kind of a warm one to start the day. And Morning Talk, I can't talk today. Morning Talk brought to you this morning and every morning by our good friends at Pioneer Care and at Fergus Falls Monument Company.
There you go. You did it. All right. Well, just want to remind you one more time that event coming up out at De Lagoon Park at American Legion Field.
Yes.
A salute to veterans and a celebration marking 100 years of American Legion baseball. And they'll have a program at 3:45 today, and then the games are at 4 and 6, a doubleheader against Bemidji. And they're going to have their concession stand that's going to be armed with, of course, those American Legion barbecue, barbecue rib sandwiches.
Oh,
those rib
so
sandwiches are so good. And anyway, so you'll be able to do that, and you can go to the concession stand and buy raffle tickets. They're going to give prizes away in game 1 every other inning. It's just going to be a whole lot of fun. And I got a message from Tom DeBrito, who is a big baseball fan, and he's been following American Legion baseball. It seems like his whole life. It's a big deal for him. And he called and told me that he got a phone call, and they're even bringing 2 buses of residents from the Veterans Home.
Oh, awesome.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
So 20 residents from the Veterans Home will be part of the fun, enjoying the games today. And those are 20 of the people that will be recognized and, just celebrated, because this is commemorating veterans everywhere. So I thought that was really nice that he sent me that update to let us know that veterans from the Veterans Home will be there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I love to hear that. And boy, are they going to have a nice day for baseball or what?
Oh,
it's going to be
gorgeous.
absolutely perfect. So once again, 3:45 today out at American Legion Field, De Lagoon Park. And we just want everyone to make sure they get out there,
And
right?
if you've never been out there, I hadn't been out there in years, and we did a couple baseball games on our streaming service.
It's such a great
beautiful,
park.
beautiful stadium.
Yep, it really is. And much of it is covered, so you can sit in the shade. It's going to be a beautiful day for baseball. So anyway, looking forward to that. Glad to hear the veterans get to be out there. And of course, it's open to anyone, veteran or not. But it is certainly saluting our area veterans.
And
for
they
sure.
just put in new lights this year.
They did.
So it's going to be it's an absolutely it's a hidden gem.
It is. It's going to be beautiful, and so they probably won't even need the lights by the time the games are over. But
No, but like for high school and stuff.
yeah, in fact, they were just getting everything installed during the high school season. So anyway, it's a great ball field, and this is going to be a great event saluting veterans and celebrating 100 years of American Legion baseball. So, all right, AAA is forecasting 61.5 million people on the run for the 4th of July weekend. Now, this is traveling by car, believe it or not, and this marks a 2.5% increase over last year. So overall, prediction is 72.2 million travelers journeying at least 50 miles from home. That's a lot of people on the road. So pack your patience, maybe. There's a lot of road construction out there. I think all of it is between me and the cabin. Because no matter where you turn, there is road construction.
You've got normal road construction. I've got stupid road construction.
Okay, well, there's a lot of that out there, too.
People who've driven on 210 between Fergus and Battle Lake have seen it. First off, they put in the stop sign at Underwood. Okay, I see that. I understand that. It's a dangerous intersection.
I get it.
People have been killed. I get that.
Yep, me too.
But the whole stupid way that they've got it set up where there's no right turn lane anymore, and then they go to Battle Lake and get rid of that right turn lane.
Oh, no.
It's like, why?
Okay.
Why? Was it too
I
efficient?
will ask you, here's another why. And if you live in or have been through downtown Pelican Rapids, and you have, when they widened the sidewalks, they made the street more narrow, and then they took a strip down the middle and put this ridiculous raised curb or hump. I don't know what it's for, but what it did is if you park on the street, you don't even dare open your door.
No.
Unless you look for coming traffic, because they'll take your door right off. You are in the traffic. It's the dumbest design I've ever seen.
And they did that in Battle Lake, too.
It's terrible. And all they did is take away street parking or make it much more dangerous.
Yep.
And I think there was enough room on the sidewalks before.
There was an engineer that thought that was a good idea.
Wow, I don't get it. And then that hump in the middle, now they tried to make it decorative, and so it's a different color than cement. It's kind of a terracotta color. Now all of that is starting to break up, and they're actually removing some of it, and it's like a year old.
Yeah.
It was the dumbest design. I don't know who in the state of Minnesota thought that was going to be a good deal, but it's not. It causes so much trouble.
Okay, you take where I get out in Battle Lake. If I go in through town, normally I just hop right on a 210, but I come out on Henning. That's where I join in Battle Lake, which is right next to, it used to be the Rusty Nail, now it's called the Little Bar and Grill. But if there's cars parked there, you've got a hill, you can't see cars.
I totally agree.
And so it's just like you're just kind of creeping out. You're creeping. Got a car.
Yeah, I know. It's really hard. But anyway, sometimes they design these roads in such a fancy manner, and they take more
it looks really good on paper.
Well, they take into account, I think they're thinking about the people walking on the sidewalk and the businesses. But if you can't park on the street, what good is that parking for that particular business?
Yep.
It's the dumbest design. Why would you use that? I mean, I don't know if on camera can see my table, but it's
about 3 feet.
Yeah, it's about 3 feet, and maybe it's more than that. But it's a good chunk of the road is taken up with this stupid hump that does nothing, except we have seen people cross the street and trip on it. Yep. And there have been some like faceplant falls. So it was the dumbest design ever. And I kind of hope they don't have to dig the whole thing up because here we go, road construction again. But what a dumb thing to do.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway.
Just wait till winter in the snowplow.
Well, I got to tell you, and I love, don't get me wrong, I love how it looks on Union outside of Spies Park.
I'm not a big fan. It's too much of a choke point. And
well, it is. And I tell you what, I am driving over that curb
all
practically
the time.
every time. I
mean, truck drivers can't take a right anymore.
Nope. That was not the smartest design either. It might look nice, but driving on it, a whole different deal.
Yeah.
Anyway, I love Spies Riverfront Park, and the park itself.
The pavilion is gorgeous.
The pavilion's so good, and it's been so well used that it's just, and it's such a nice centerpiece of downtown.
It's almost every night there's something there.
Yeah, I think it's great. They're doing a great job with that. And then they added the splash pad, and pretty soon there's going to be a boutique hotel, and there's all kinds of great restaurants.
That's
and
opening up
shops
this month.
Boy, I can't, that's hard to believe.
Yeah.
They got some work to do, but it's going to be super cool for sure.
Yep.
All right. How about this one? Speaking of traffic, there's research from Penn State University that highlights the dangers of left turns at intersections. With over 60% of intersection collisions involving left turns, cities like San Francisco and Salt Lake City are implementing restrictions on left turns. Left turns pose risks such as an angle crash and pedestrian accidents. Additionally, left turns contribute to inefficiencies in traffic flow, causing delays and increased fuel consumption. I remember my mom saying, when I go somewhere, I try to pick a path where I only have to make right turns. And I always thought that was funny. And she ended up driving a long way out of her way sometimes, but right turns are a lot less dangerous.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm shocked the number isn't higher because, I mean, if you go straight, odds are you're not going to crash with anybody. Take a right turn, most likely you're not going to crash.
Yep. By restricting left turns during peak hours and considering alternatives like roundabouts, so that's another reason for a roundabout, cities can enhance safety and traffic efficiency. So left turns are hard.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times I will go out of my way to avoid a left turn, especially turning like onto Union or, if there's not a light, then I'm like, I'm not going there.
Oh yeah, there's a couple, like if you're coming on Vernon and you need to take a left on Union, good luck.
Yeah, I know. It's just about impossible these days. Pretty soon there might have to be a roundabout there one day.
No, there's too many yards.
I suppose.
But you can always tell the people that live in Fergus and the people that don't, or do a lot of driving, because a lot of people will take a left on Court and go just bypass that intersection.
Oh, okay.
So they'll take a left, and especially if they're going to hit Elcott, they take a left on Court.
Do you know, I do that. I do that too. And then I can take Court all the way to Channing, and then Channing spits me right out in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
So I go that way a lot because it's just impossible.
Yep.
To take a left-hand turn there. So, especially certain times of day. Well, same thing right outside of Holiday. That's hard.
Yeah, Holiday's tough. Yep. You got Washington, that one's tough.
That next corner on Washington. Those are hard left turns.
Tower Road and Fur, that T there, taking a left.
Tower Road and Fur.
It's kind of by the bus garage.
Oh, yeah, yes. Very hard.
There's been a lot of talk about putting in a roundabout there, too.
Okay, well, it's just gotten busier, I guess, and so we have to make room for that kind of stuff. Okay, here's something that's kind of cool. Alabama is going to host a new astronaut training camp for young women.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah, I think it's kind of cool. Yesterday we talked about, or the day before, about the NASA Plus and
on Netflix.
On Netflix, yeah.
But yeah, Huntsville, Alabama, I do believe is where they host a lot of the astronaut schools.
The camp is organized by the late actress Nichelle Nichols and her foundation. Okay. It's going to offer a weekend-long experience for girls age 14 to 18 at the U.S. Space and Rocket Center in Huntsville. Inspired by Nichols' groundbreaking role as Lieutenant Uhura on Star Trek. Yeah. Yep. Anyway, the camp will combine NASA-style astronaut training with activities based on Star Trek concepts. Sounds like kind of fun, huh?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of young girls are more interested in things like that. You know, they're super interested in like STEM activities and that sort of thing. And this is kind of, you know, sort of a spin-off of that. Anyway, the camp aims to encourage diversity and inspire the next generation of female astronauts. So financial assistance and scholarships are available for eligible participants. So I think that sounds like kind of a cool deal.
Yeah, it sounds awesome.
I love this too. So there is an ice cream vendor.
Okay.
And this is in Florida. His name is Don Thomas in southern Florida. Captured the hearts of many after a viral video showed him walking for miles with his cart under the scorching sun.
Oh.
Now, I know when we've been at both Siesta Key, but especially Fort Myers Beach, there are always those guys walking with their carts down the beach with ice cream treats. Anyway, a kind resident, touched by his dedication, decided to start a GoFundMe campaign to help him out. The video shared on TikTok quickly gained traction, amassing 20,000 shares, 6,700 comments, and nearly 1 million likes. The fundraiser, aimed at providing Thomas with better transportation and equipment, has raised about $30,000 toward the $35,000 goal. The community has rallied behind him, recognizing his hard work and commitment to serving them. So I love that. Something on a related note happened in right by our cabin last weekend. I think it was on Sunday. I walked outside and I heard what I thought sounded like ice cream truck music. And I thought, well, what and who in the world is playing that? Go out in the street, here is this cute little truck, and it's called Oh for Sweet. It's so cute, and it pulled over, and pretty soon kids were running from every direction with dollars in their hand. It was the cutest thing. So if anyone listening knows whoever drives the Oh for Sweet van, and they have a Facebook page, so you can just, that's how I was able to look them up again. And you can have their truck come to your birthday party, or I just thought it was such a cool idea. And they just happened through our little village, as we refer to it. And there's plenty of kids on both sides of the road, and they just came a-running.
We were out at we were doing one of those games, and all of a sudden I'm like, does somebody have a ringtone that sounds like the ice cream? No, maybe it's a kid's toy. There's a couple kids down in front of us. And all of a sudden it's like, look out, and there it goes.
I know.
The ice cream van. I'm like, wow.
I know.
I didn't know they still existed.
It is. I know. It's so throwback, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I tell you what, especially this last weekend, I think there are a lot of people on vacation this week.
Yep.
We had a ton of kids in our neighborhood at the lake, and everybody came running at the sound of it. And then it was really nice. Then somebody pulled off and put their flashers on.
Oh, that's
so
good,
that
yeah.
people coming down the hill were a little bit warned that there were kids running around this truck, you know. So everybody played along. It was great. We loved it. So Oh for Sweet, thanks for stopping in our neighborhood at the lake. We loved it. Come back to right between Lida and Crystal anytime. I promise you'll get lots of takers. So that was really fun. You may have seen this picture on probably Facebook. A giant windmill blade fell onto the highway. Did you see that? So imagine how big those blades are.
They're enormous.
Unbelievable. In fact, when they haul them, it takes one extra long flatbed to haul one blade. Well, anyway, this was in Maryland, and they faced unexpected delays during a Monday morning commute when a massive windmill blade blocked a local highway. Incident occurred on Interstate 70 between Hagerstown and Washington County after a tractor trailer carrying the wind turbine piece overturned and hit a guardrail around 5 a.m. Well, at least it happened that way and didn't come flying off one of those. State Department of Transportation officials shared video footage showing the blade extending across lanes through the median and onto oncoming traffic. So that was a big deal. Traffic resumed normal flow by 8 o'clock after the blade was successfully removed. So anyway. All right. And it says right here, I don't know what your morning looked like, but it says morning routines have a real impact on how the rest of your day is gonna go.
I believe it.
And if you get out of your routine, does it mess up your whole day?
Yes.
Yeah, me too. My routine is get up 5:40. I walk with my neighbor a couple miles in the morning. At 5:45, we get back about 6:30ish, and right away I sit and have a cup of coffee and watch a little news and flick around a little bit to see who's saying what on what stations, and then it's have a little breakfast, shower, get ready, drive to work with a good cup of coffee. So, but if I mess that up, I get all screwed up. I forget things at home that I should have taken with me, or I forget to do one thing. If I get out of sync or out of the schedule and do one thing before the other, like I do them out of order, screws me up.
Yep.
So, but after I read this, it looks like I am not alone. And it looks like more than 50% of us say that if we screw up our morning routine, it wrecks the whole day. I don't know if it wrecks my day, but it sure puts me into a tailspin sometimes.
Yeah, it definitely sets me back until I, get probably done with this show. I usually can right myself during this show. And
yeah. Gives you a chance to sit down a little bit, drink a little coffee, and get your bearings again. All right. Well, that is going to wrap up the show on Wednesday. So thank you for joining us. Our show today and every day brought to us by Pioneer Care and by Fergus Falls Monument Company. Have a great Wednesday.